the Chanel Slingbacks. This is the heeled version, and also these are the flats. And both of them I have in these pink colors. This one's more of a bluey pink and this one's more of a warm tone pink. Both very pretty shoes and I love them so much. And I'm going to go through a comparison of these two because this was a requested video. So thank you for requesting this video. You're very much loved and appreciated. And let's get into it. First of all, the price difference between these two are not very much. This one is £830, this one is £800, so only £30 difference. But it really depends on what you prefer when looking for a pair of shoes. Both of these shoes I got in the size 38, and this one is a cleaner pair because this one I'm a bit ashamed to share with you. I know in the Dior pair of shoes I am a 37.5 because they do run a little bit big. But with these, if you are high street shoes, no true to size, you know what size you are. Chances are when you get these, they are very true to size, but you can always try them on in store. But overall, I would say in terms of the shape at the front, they're very, very similar. They do run quite narrow, so if you do have a wider foot, I would say that it's not very good and comfortable in that aspect. But for my feet, because I do have quite narrow feet in itself, these do fit very comfortably. But if you do have a wider foot, you may just want to try this in store because with the leather at the front, it is very, very soft and it's very, very comfortable, very, very nice and soft, so it will mold to your feet quite easily. And likewise with this pair, it's very malleable and it will mold to your feet to some extent. With both of these shoes, I do have a slightly different leather on the main body, but the toe cap is where it's the biggest difference because this one has more of a fabric material at the front and this one is all leather, but in it's a more hard wearing leather. So that's the difference between the pair of shoes that I got. Now you can get it in a range of different colors, a range of different materials. You can even get the tweed versions, which are so, so beautiful. And I really want to purchase one of them at some point too. But for now, I really love these two pairs. On the back, we have the heel, and you can see that this is a 2cm heel, and this is basically as flat as you can get flats. And then this one is a 65mm heel, so 6.5 centimeters. So it does give you a little bit of height there, but it's not so much that it's really sky-high heels. It's very, very subtle. And on the sides, we have the CC logos on there. Both of them are in the silver hardware, and it always comes close to the more front side of the heel, so never close to the back. And if we look at the base of the shoe, you can see that on the base of the flat, the heel on this one has a much bigger surface area, the one on these pair of heels, because it's just the height of the heel and it narrows down when you look at the heel, especially from the back. Whereas this, it's very, I guess if you kept it from this height, it is the similar surface area, but if it carried on all the way to the bottom, then you get the narrow heel. Both of these overall, the heel is very substantial, and no matter how you walk, it's very, very comfortable. Now, in terms of how you walk with these shoes, this one, of course, is very, very flat. You can see how close to the ground you are. And as the shape of a foot, it's not meant to be exactly very, very flat. It's supposed to have some curvature. You have a little bit of an arch there. With these flats, although they are flats, they are very comfortable. They kind of feel a bit like slippers to me. But after you walk in these for quite a while, I do feel like these flats really limit my ability to walk comfortably because they are so flat. There's not much bend to it. It's very rigid. And because it's so rigid, it's not letting the arch of my foot bend enough. Sometimes I get a lot of foot ache from the arch of my foot. So this can be really nice for a nice walk around. But in terms of being a very long wearing everyday shoe, I would say that this isn't as comfortable. And personally, if you had the chance to get the traditional ballet classic flats, then I would highly recommend those over this one because there is more of a bend to that shoe. Now, comparing with the heel version, we have that right amount of arch. It's a little bit more than what your natural arch is, but it is enough to give you that comfort. And likewise, it's not very flexible again, but because you're already arched to some extent, it does help quite a lot. And in my opinion, I actually found that I am more long lasting in these shoes than my other pair of flats because these are just more comfortable, in my opinion, to walk around. simply because of the art. And because it's not such a crazy high heel, these are pretty much feeling like flats in my eyes. Now, when it comes to Slingbacks, there's always been a love-hate with this, because Slingbacks, they're very beautiful. They have an airy touch to it. It lets your foot breathe. But because it's a string right at the back of the shoe, sometimes this catches at the end of my foot and it ends up tugging it. So then sometimes I get blisters at the back of my feet. So I tend to put a plaster on at the back. But it happens on both of these shoes. So it's not one or the other. It's actually both of these shoes that happen. That's why in a lot of cases I do prefer the Shadow or Slingbacks over these, because this is just very, very thin and it really tucks in. Potentially I could get a size larger, but I remember trying half a size up and the shoes were just hurting my arch because I had to grip onto the shoe a lot more and it wasn't that comfortable. So the size for these are correct. It's just that the thinness of this strap is just way too small. Maybe they could make something softer out of it or something spongier, I don't know. But this is something that they could work on for future reference. But do let me know if you've had the same problem with any of these shoes as well. Now, onto the overall look of these shoes. And the first thing I want to mention is that the first time you ever see these shoes, especially when they are on the shelf or in your shoe cupboard, and you see them just like this, they do not look appealing at all. They look very granny-like, but this is where I have to say grannies know best, because no matter which one you put on, they are both so flattering. In my opinion, I actually think, weirdly enough, when you wear both of these, they look very, very similar. Even though one has a heel and the other doesn't, when you put them on, for some reason it looks the same. And even though that this heel has some height to it and it elongates the leg, this shoe, even if it's a flat, it also elongates the leg because of the design of the shoe. It's the shape of the front, it just really narrows it down and it makes your foot so elegant. And when you wear it, it's just so pretty. They both elongate the legs just the same and it's basically a miracle. That's a magical thing about these two shoes. So if you do prefer flats and you want that elongation, you will still get it with these flat shoes. But with the heel version, personally, I think it's more comfortable, but it really depends on your personal preference. So I really highly recommend that you go into store, try them on, see which one you prefer. But in terms of the overall look, I'm pretty sure that when you go into the store and you try them both, they look very, very similar and the styling will be the same for each of them. So that is my comparison of the two Slingbacks. And let me know in the comments below if you've tried these shoes on. And if you like this video, then have a look at this video where I talk about the Chanel Classic Flap and is it worth it? And I will see you there. Bye!